In a quiet courtroom, everyone thought the trial was heading toward a predictable end. The evidence seemed solid, the testimonies clear, and the verdict almost certain. But then came a revelation, a secret recording, whispered about in hushed tones, waiting to be revealed at just the right moment. Before we dive into the shocking details of this twist, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss stories that pull back the curtain on life's most dramatic turns. Each video is crafted to keep you on the edge of your seat, and your support means everything to us. The case itself had already captured the public's attention. It wasn't just about the crime. It was about the people involved. Powerful names, respected figures, and lives built on reputations that suddenly found themselves under attack. The prosecution seemed confident, parading witness after witness who supported their version of events. The defense, however, appeared to be running out of strategies, until the moment they hinted at something no one had expected, evidence that had not yet seen the light of day. The courtroom buzzed with tension as the defense attorney leaned forward, pausing just long enough to build suspense. He announced that his team had come into possession of a recording. At first, it sounded ordinary, just another piece of information that might support their case. But as soon as the words "secretly recorded" were spoken, the mood in the room shifted entirely. The judge looked up, eyebrows raised, the jury sat straighter in their seats, and the audience, packed with reporters and curious onlookers, held their breath. For weeks, the trial had unfolded in predictable patterns. Lawyers argued, witnesses testified, and documents were presented. But this was something new, something that carried weight because it was raw, unfiltered, and above all, real. The defense claimed the recording would not only challenge the prosecution's key witness, but also reveal motives that had been carefully hidden from view. Speculation ran wild. Who was on the recording? What did they say? And how could something like this have gone undiscovered until now? The prosecution immediately objected, demanding to know how the evidence had been obtained and whether it was even admissible. But by then, the spark had already been lit. The trial, once steady and predictable, was about to take a turn no one had anticipated. As the judge ordered a short recess to review the matter, whispers filled the air. Reporters rushed to their phones, already drafting headlines. Secret recording disrupts trial. Unexpected twist could change everything. Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered, eager to hear updates. And inside, the accused sat silently, eyes forward, knowing that the next few hours could decide their fate. That one recording, captured in secret, had the power to shatter carefully crafted narratives and expose truths that no one. When the trial resumed, the atmosphere had completely changed. The judge, after carefully reviewing the legality of the evidence, allowed the defense to play the recording. The courtroom grew silent. Everyone leaned forward, the tension so thick you could almost feel it pressing down. Then, with a single click, the hidden recording came to life. A familiar voice filled the air. It was the prosecution's star witness, the very person whose testimony had seemed ironclad, the one the jury had been told to trust beyond question. But now, captured in an unguarded moment, that same voice told a very different story. The recording revealed private conversations, laced with contradictions. The witness spoke about pressure to testify a certain way, about promises of protection, even hints of financial gain. What moments earlier had been the cornerstone of the prosecution's case was now crumbling in real time. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Jurors exchanged shocked glances. Reporters scrambled to write down every word. The prosecution immediately objected, calling the evidence misleading, taken out of context. They argued the recording was incomplete, that it didn't show the whole truth. But the damage was already done. Once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to restore. And in that moment, the jury saw the witness not as a figure of credibility, but as someone with motives that were far from pure. The defense attorney seized the opportunity. With each pause in the recording, he drove the point home. This was not just a slip of the tongue. This was manipulation, deceit, and perhaps even corruption. The narrative flipped before everyone's eyes. The accused, once painted as guilty beyond doubt, now appeared as someone who might have been trapped in a web of lies. The judge maintained composure, but the weight of the revelation was undeniable. What was supposed to be a straightforward trial was now unraveling into chaos. Every earlier testimony was questioned. Every piece of evidence was viewed through new suspicion. If the star witness could not be trusted, how much of the case itself remained intact? Outside the courtroom, the news spread like wildfire. Crowds that had gathered grew louder, debating whether justice was even possible after such a revelation. Social media erupted with clips of what was happening inside, fueling arguments and dividing opinions across the nation. And through it all, the accused sat quietly, almost as if they knew this moment was their lifeline. That single recording had shifted the balance. The battle was far from over, but suddenly, for the first time, hope seemed possible. But with hope came danger. Because if one witness could be exposed, what else was waiting in the shadows? Who else had secrets that could be uncovered? And how far would those threatened by the truth go to silence? The courtroom was now a storm of tension. The prosecution, reeling from the devastating blow of the recording, scrambled to regain control. They called the witness back to the stand, hoping to repair the damage. But once trust is fractured, words begin to sound hollow. The witness nervously adjusted the microphone, beads of sweat glistening under the courtroom lights. Their once confident tone was gone. Every answer now felt shaky, defensive. The defense attorney, sensing the shift, leaned in with sharp questions. "Were you promised protection for your testimony?" Silence filled the room. The witness hesitated, glanced toward the prosecution's table, and finally muttered, I don't recall." The jury noticed. The judge noticed. Everyone noticed. The defense pounced again. "Did you ever discuss receiving compensation for cooperating with the state?" The courtroom gasped. The witness tried to explain, claiming it wasn't payment, just support. But in that single word, everything collapsed. Support or payment, it didn't matter. The seed of doubt had grown into a towering tree. The prosecution rose, objecting again and again, but each objection only reinforced the perception that they were desperate to cover something up. The defense, calm and methodical, simply played more of the recording, letting the witness's own voice undermine their credibility. And then came the turning point. The recording revealed not only pressure, but direct manipulation. The witness admitting they were told exactly what to say, rehearsed lines, and warned about the consequences if they refused. This wasn't just questionable testimony. This was evidence of coaching, of tampering, of possible corruption within the very heart of the case. The jurors exchanged uneasy glances, scribbling furiously on their notepads. Some even shook their heads in disbelief. The prosecution's case, once airtight, now seemed poisoned. Meanwhile, the accused sat at the defense table, hands folded, watching the chaos unfold. For weeks, they had been painted as the villain. But now, the mask was slipping off someone else. Outside, the crowd surged with anger and curiosity. News anchors speculated live about what this meant for the integrity of the trial. Could the case be thrown out? Would mistrial be declared? Or was this just the beginning of something bigger? Inside, the judge finally called for order, banging the gavel to quiet the uproar. "This court will come to order," they declared, but the authority in their voice no longer carried the same weight. Everyone knew something irreversible had happened. The trial was no longer just about guilt or innocence. It was about corruption, betrayal, and the fragility of truth in a system built on trust. And as the day's proceedings ended, whispers filled the air. If one secret recording could turn the case upside down, what other revelations might still be waiting to emerge? The following morning, the courtroom was packed beyond capacity. Reporters lined the aisles, cameras outside captured every moment, and the entire city seemed to be holding its breath. The recording had already shaken the foundation of the trial, but what came next would determine everything. The defense team stood tall, their confidence unmistakable. They no longer had to convince the jury of innocence. The prosecution now had to claw back credibility. But with the recording echoing in everyone's minds, their task was almost impossible. The prosecution tried desperately to salvage the case. They brought in new evidence, attempting to steer attention away from the scandal. But every word they spoke seemed to be met with skepticism. The jury wasn't just questioning the witness anymore. They were questioning the entire structure of the case. The defense attorney rose for closing arguments, voice steady but sharp as a blade. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," they began, "justice is built on truth. When testimony is bought, when words are scripted, and when lies are sold as facts, justice collapses. You heard the recording with your own ears. This isn't about doubt anymore, it's about deception. And deception has no place in this courtroom." Every eye in the room was fixed on the attorney. The silence was so heavy, it felt like the walls themselves were listening. Then came the final twist. The defense revealed that the recording wasn't uncovered by accident. It had been deliberately hidden, suppressed until a whistleblower risked everything to bring it forward. That revelation shattered what little trust remained. If evidence could be hidden once, how many other times had it happened before? The jury retired to deliberate, but the atmosphere made the outcome feel inevitable. Hours later, they returned, faces set, verdict in hand. The foreperson stood, voice firm. "Not guilty." Gasps, cheers, and cries erupted throughout the courtroom. The accused broke down, overwhelmed by relief, while the prosecution sat stunned, their case obliterated. The judge's gavel thundered, declaring the trial complete. But outside the courthouse, the battle for truth was only beginning. Reporters swarmed, demanding answers about the manipulation, the corruption, the betrayal of trust. The scandal spread beyond the trial, shaking the justice system itself. And as the dust settled, one thing became clear. Truth may be buried, but it cannot be silenced forever. It will claw its way to the surface, no matter how deep the lies are buried. So let this story be a reminder for every listener, every viewer, that honesty is the strongest weapon anyone can carry. Lies may win in the moment, but truth always finds its voice. Thank you for watching this story unfold with us. If you want more powerful stories like this every day, Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and join our growing community. Until next time, remember, the truth might shake the world, but it will always set you free.